What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Go M.A.D podcast. I am your host, Christopher, and thank you guys once again for listening to the podcast. I hope you guys are receiving and not only learning, and I hope that you are also able to take action on the things that you're listening to, and you're actually doing more of doing than just listening. My goal is that you guys take in what you learn and then put it in an external aspect by taking action on it and always applying it. That's my goal, so that we actually all grow together and make a difference together. And in what I'm going to talk about today, me personally, it took me to do all of that. Um, it took for me to apply that exact same thing. And today there's a lot of things that I want to talk about. Just some personal things that I was able to overcome, that I was going through, and I was only able to do that by me being able to reach from the deepest part of myself and really learning that if I really want to be my best, I'm gonna have to do difficult things. And right off the bat, I just want to share that with you as well. That if you really, really, really want to make a difference, if you really want to stand out and want to be great, then you need to understand and accept and embrace that you're going to have to do difficult things. Like, let that go from the deepest part within you, and understand that you've got to do the most difficult things and seek those opportunities to understand that that's what it's going to take for you to get better. So I just wanted to share just a brief kind of like a story of what has happened to me in the last week. On Sunday, I listened to a message, and in this message, I learned a lot about really digging inside of yourself and thinking of the things that might really be binding you, and has something over you, has a weight over you, whether it's like, an obstacle or a personal struggle that nobody might know about. And in that message, I learned how I need to really like let myself go from those things and be free, learning to be free, so that I'm able to really like run freely, being able to run to the next step, run over towards the next phase that I'm meant to be in. And I remember so vividly that while I was listening to this message, I remember there was it was something that came to my mind immediately, and I remember I was like, this is something that I need to address. And I realized, like, this is something that I need to bring forward. And I don't it was something that was like within me that I kept hidden for a while, and I didn't want that to be a part of me anymore. I didn't want that to be something only I knew anymore. So it was just ringing in my head for so long, so much during that whole message. I was like, no, I need to address this. I want to address this because I want to be better. And all I kept repeating to myself was, if I want to get better, I need to do something. I need to do the difficult things. I need to do the difficult things. So then I took out time throughout the week to sit down with my wife, and it kept it, like, every conversation we had, it was something that it stayed in my mind. It stayed there, and I was like, no, and I want this to come forward. So I spoke about some addictions that I had with my wife, and I shared it with her, and I spoke of my struggles, and I did it willingly, and I did it with openness, and I fully like opened myself up, and I will never forget that feeling. Obviously, it was a very difficult time and something very difficult to go through. And I still remember me being able to release that, something that I've held in for an addiction I've held in for so long. Being able to release that really freed me. Like, it's really a cliche now when you say like a huge weight lifted off your shoulder. There's really no other way for me to describe it. That's literally how I felt. Like, I felt so free. I felt like there was nothing to hold me back anymore. I felt like I could run, like I can go, I can move forward, and I didn't realize how much of that situation, of that particular struggle within me, I didn't realize how powerful that thing was over me until I confessed it, until I was able to bring it into the light. It wasn't until then that I realized, like, wow, like how much better I felt in that moment was when I realized, like, dang, this was really something that was affecting me, and I didn't really understand or know it that much until I was able to let it go. And that's kind of what I wanted to break down, and talk about today, is learning how we can find strength through our weaknesses, through the things that we struggle with, because it's behind the struggles that we can transform into our success stories. And the only way we can do that is by finding strength in those weaknesses. And the only way we can do that is by a few different things that I wanted to talk about today. And the very first thing that I want us to do from what I did was to acknowledge your weaknesses, or your weakness, whatever it might be. And right now, if you listen to this podcast, you know that we do a lot of writing. I don't know if you ever do it whenever I say to do it. But we do a lot of writing here. We do a lot of lists. We make a lot of lists here. So if you don't have a pen and paper, then I advise, after I mention what you should do, pause this podcast, pause this video, and make a list of this either on your phone or through a voice memo on your phone, whatever it is. Just take note of it, please. I beg you, like, to like do it, because this is the step that it's going to take if you really do want to be great. I'm telling you right now, the best way to do it is for you to face the most difficult things, and the most difficult things are the things that are within you and inside of you. So I want you to make a list, and even if it's just one thing, like I want you to make a list, even if it's just one single thing. It could be one thing, or it could be a multiple amount of things. I just want you to make a list of things you feel like you might have been hiding, or that you believe has been stopping you from growing, or that you feel like is a darkness within you. Maybe something that you've never addressed or ever thought about, but that you know is something that needs to be addressed. Make a list of those things. Make a list of things that you feel like are obstacles to you, that you feel like stop you from growing, stop you from being better. This can be any numerous amount of things, any kind of darkness that's within you, anything that you feel like creates a barrier between you and what's on the other side of victory, what's on the other side of you being the best you can be. Whether it's addiction, whether it's whatever the case may be, make a list of those things now. So you can go ahead and pause the video, pause the podcast right now if you want to go ahead and do that, and take some time to do that, and then you can come back. And I want you, as you make this list, once you finish making this list, I want you to look at it head on. If you wrote it down, then I want you to just stare at it, because sometimes like I said, you might not know how much weight that has over you until you're able to see it in front of you, right in front of you, like as if you were looking in the mirror. Because that's, like I said, I knew there was something within me that I wasn't doing right, and it wasn't until I was able to release that and look at that and address it that I saw how much power that had over me. So I want you to do the same thing when you make this list of things that are stopping you from growing, obstacles, barriers, addictions, whatever they are. I want you to look at that list, and I want you to think of how this has been an obstacle to you. Like, just right now, just think throughout the time of that specific thing. Like, how has that been an obstacle to you? How has that stopped you? How has that been affecting you, within you, emotionally, mentally, whatever it is? How has that been taking time away from you being better? And just think about that for a moment. As I was saying, for me personally, when I was listening to this message, it was just on my mind so much, and I just continued to just like think about it, and it was just like immediately. It wasn't a part of the message that I was listening to. It wasn't like no one was asking me to do this. It was just for some reason, while I was listening to this message and the message being about being free, immediately just my mind just came into like, what is stopping me from being able to be completely free? And that's when I just immediately, that exact thing came to my mind. And it just continued to like nag, like hit me. And I realized, I was like, no, this is something within me that I felt that God was telling me that I need to address, that he was putting in me, like I need to let this out. and I had to like really let it sit in my mind for a little bit. And as I finally realized, like, no, this is something that needs to come out into the light. Um, once I looked at it, and I really like thought about all my life, that thing that I was struggling with, realizing once I was able to address it is when I saw how it was affecting me. So I want you to not hold back. Like, this list that you're making, I'm not looking at it. Ain't nobody else looking at it. This is just you. Whether it's you and God or you, whatever it is, like, this is just you right here. And this is your moment to come face to face with you and your biggest struggles, your biggest obstacles, your biggest barriers in your life, and look them straight ahead, and really think about how they have been affecting you, whether in a very bad way, or maybe they've been sitting on the back seat, maybe just like little by little tearing you down, right? So once you have acknowledged, and you have acknowledged that those things are weaknesses, that you are able to say, like, yes, this is stopping me from being better, that you understand that this is what is making me weak, this is what is stopping me from being stronger, from being better, from growing. Once you have acknowledged that weakness, the second thing that is going to take is confession. And the reason why this is so important, I'm gonna take a little second here to look something up. So as I was looking this up, the second thing that I'm mentioning when it comes to confession, this is like I said, this is between you. It could be between you and God, whatever it is that you need to do to face this confession. The goal is that you can bring into light whatever darkness is within you, whatever is stopping you from being better, right? So in the Bible itself, there's a specific scripture that I always refer to, and I was studying and looking back to it to try to find it, because it was something that I remember the first time I read it, when I actually truly understood it. It really impacted me, and I understood the power within it. This is in the book of Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 11, and this is the Apostle Paul talking. That he says, "Don't participate in the unfruitful deeds of darkness, but rather expose them." And then skipping ahead to verse 13, all things that are exposed by the light are made evident. So two different things there. The very first thing that it says is to expose the darkness within you, right? And just how I mentioned to you guys, I had to expose, like, I had to put a flashlight on it, like a huge spotlight, and be like, hey, yeah, we're not doing this anymore, right? And I want you to think about it that way, like, really expose that weakness within you, like, make it known, make it known to you, make it open, and put like a huge spotlight on it, and be like, yeah, this is me, this is my weakness, this is what, like, I am going through, and like shine a light on that. The reason why, and what I mentioned in the other verse, is where it says that all things that are exposed by the light and are in the light are made evident. So sometimes that word might be like a little bit confusing. So even I myself, I'm like, okay, I can understand what it's trying to say, but I want to know exactly, like, what does it mean that it's made evident? So I looked up the definition, and the definition itself, of evident, it means it's clearly seen and understood. So basically, it's saying that all the things that are exposed into the light or by the light are clearly seen and understood, which is it's literally obvious. Like, if it were to be completely dark in this room, and I turn on my flashlight, now I can see, right? There's light now. And in the same way, when there's the darkness within you, when you shine a light on it, now you can clearly see it and you can understand it better. And for me personally, how I keep mentioning, like, I had to repeat it because it's really so powerful, that it was something that it was within me, and when I exposed it into the light, and I did that through many ways, through prayer, through confession, when I was talking with my wife about it, and when I was exposing that and placing that into the light, it was clearly seen, it was clearly visible, obvious. And it was only then that I was able to really understand. Like, now that I can see it, I was able to understand what it really was. And I don't know what it was like I don't know how to explain it. It was like me being detached from that. It was like, it's like in Spider-Man 3. For those who haven't watched Spider-Man 3, there's a scene where Spider-Man, he's on this path and he's turning evil, right? And he latches on to the Venom, right? For those who don't know, Venom is like this like crazy big monster that looks like Spider-Man, but he's like a demon, like a crazy demon. And I remember the specific scene that it was like, it wasn't him exactly. It was another guy who actually ended up becoming Venom, where he wanted to be, good so bad, and there was just so much evil within him. And you can see the actual Venom, it was like this liquid type of thing, and it was like latching onto him, and you can see it like almost being removed from him, and then like they like found the way to like really detach that and completely remove it, right? So that just came to my mind because I was thinking like that's exactly how it felt like when I was able to expose the darkness within me, and being able to see it and finally understand that the power that it had over me. It was like me ripping off that darkness and like detaching myself from it, and that's when I felt like, whoa. That's when I really felt free from it. And that's what I want you guys to do, is for you guys to do the same exact thing, to detach yourself from it. Because when you place this in the light, when you're able to clearly see it and understand it, then you will really know the power that it had over you. It's so easy, and it's such an easier route to take, to just keep it within you, not do anything about it, and maybe just keep it personal and be like, no, yeah, like this is just me, my own thing. Because it's easy to keep it inside, because that thing is so powerful. You don't see yourself letting it go. And I'm here to encourage you guys to bring that darkness into the light, expose it, bring it into the light so you can clearly see it and understand it, so that you know and see the power that it had over you. And I say had because once you expose it, now it's in the light and it has no power anymore over you or over anything else. And now you're able to be free from it. And that's what my goal is, for you guys to be able to be free from that thing, from those things, from that darkness, from those obstacles that are stopping you. I want you to be free from it. And that's going to take by you placing that into the light. How can you place it into the light? Like I said, there's many different ways, whether it's through prayer, if you want to connect with God, or if not, a great way, in my case, was confessions, through confession. So I encourage you guys to find someone that you might trust. Find someone who you trust, that you would know could receive this information from you, from this struggle, and fully accept you. And I want you to be careful, because sometimes you might have a friend, or you might think you know someone who might help you, and really they might just, judge you or have these things. I want you to really think about someone who values you, who wants to encourage you, who wants you to be better, and will only provide you a path to continue to grow and be better, and will not judge you or look at you differently. Instead, they will guide you along a better path. So think of that person and approach them. And it could be anyone. I don't care who comes up to you. For me, it was my wife, because I trust my wife with everything. So I approached her and I confessed. And I want you to do the same thing, to find that person and sit down with them. Like I sat down face to face next to my wife, and I said everything I needed to say. And I need you to do the same thing, to sit down face to face and confess, and like let it come out from within you, and take out the time to shine a light on those things, on the struggles that you're having, and let it be clearly seen. Let it be clearly in the light, so that you can finally let go of it and see what it had over you. And all in this, the goal that I want you guys to do with this is to free yourself from the obstacles, from barriers, from things that might be stopping you from being better, from getting in the way of you being the best you can be. This really, like, I really have no words like to describe how impactful this was for me, because this came out of nowhere, and I saw that it was necessary for me to go through this. And I remember, like, whatever the repercussions were, whatever the consequences were, I remember telling myself, I was like, I'm willing to go through it because I need to get better. And I don't care if it means it's going to be worse before it gets better. I want to go through it because I want to be better. And I'm going to have to do the difficult things to get there. And you've got to do the same thing and have that same mindset. It's not going to be easy. So the only thing you can do is be okay with it going to be difficult, and understand that it will be difficult, and embrace that and take the challenge and opportunity, knowing that it's only going to help you grow and be better in the end. And all you have to do is let go of that for yourself and just bring it into the light, and make a habit of that. Like, once I was able to let go, like let myself go from those things, I really felt like so much more in control of myself, so much more with power within myself, that thing that I thought I would struggle the rest of my life with, suddenly after that, I had no interest whatsoever in any of those things, in any of that addiction. I didn't have any interest in it anymore. And it was so strange, and I felt so free. And the only thing that came to my mind was, I want to make a habit of this. And by that I mean I want to make a habit for myself to continually find the weaknesses in myself, find the things that I feel like I'm struggling with, or the barriers that I might have, and things that I feel like I might be struggling with, and immediately have the mindset to do exactly what I did, which is to confront it, to bring it into the light, expose it, confess it, and never let it gain power by letting it sit within me, let it sit inside me, and let it build over time. And that's what I want you guys to have in the end. After all of this, my goal is at the end of this, after you're listening to this, that you can make a habit, a consistent and committed habit to wanting to get better. And once you see a weakness within you, that you can immediately address it, immediately attack it, immediately put a spotlight on it and say, this is what I'm going through, and expose it so that it has no power over you, and it has nothing that it can have over you, and you can be stronger behind your weakness. And it's only through then that you can be better and start to build a stronger mindset, knowing that it doesn't matter what will come up in the future, even if it's something that you've probably never struggled with before, and you might go through the hardest phase in your life. You'll be prepared because you're seeking the opportunities to do the most difficult things in life, because you know that it is only through those things that you'll be able to be stronger. And when you intentionally look towards your weaknesses and intentionally see those things, and know that once you address it, you free yourself, and you actually, behind your weakness, behind admitting, confessing your weakness, you actually become stronger. Then you realize how powerful it is for you to embrace the difficult times and to seek opportunities to be better, because that's ultimately what will lead you to the end, this end thought, the most important thing, and that's finding strength in weakness. And that's what I want you guys to leave with today. So I hope this message has impacted you guys today. If this has, please DM me, like drop a comment, send me a message if you have listened. I really like to hear from you guys, and I like to receive feedback from you guys, and see how this is impacting you, how you're enjoying this, and how you've been receiving this. And I also like to receive feedback, like, how can I be better? Like I said, I am always seeking opportunities to improve. I'm always seeking ways to get better, because at the end, I want to be my best self, and I want to learn how to be better, so that I can show you guys how to be better, and we can all together have that community. So you guys can follow me on my Instagram page at Go M.A.D Official, or my personal Instagram page at Chris Go M.A.D. You can also follow me on Twitter at Crisito is mad. And for any of this equipment, if you're interested in any of this equipment at all, that I set up my podcast for, I leave a link for all of that in my description. So if even if you don't purchase any of that equipment, if you click those links and still buy something, anything else, like if you just like go there just to see, and then later on buy something different through those links, it still does help the podcast out. So if you guys would do that, that would be awesome. I want to grow the podcast and get better. So if you would support you, and you can do that, that would be awesome. And at the end, just continue to invest in yourself. And as we continue to make the best of ourselves and grow ourselves and be our best so that we can show others how to do the same, we can all go mad. I'll catch you guys in the next one.